Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA, and welcome to another episode of For the Win. We've never compared modern to classic. We thought it'd be fun to look at two very different Dodge Chargers. Modern Charger, 68 Charger. Both radical builds, both completely highly custom, both are extraordinarily badass. This is gonna be a really tough one to choose. And you would think this would be an easy one, classic over modern, like no brainer, right? Well, let's talk about this modern Charger for a second and see if this changes your thoughts. And you're gonna wanna go back and check out this episode. It's really cool. This is potentially one of one car on the planet, by the way. So my neighbor Dennis, who does, you guys have heard me mention him. He does all the Fast and Furious stuff, lots of other movies, but very well known for building picture cars. Dennis had a base model modern Charger sitting there. He also had a Hellcat Charger sitting there. Manual, by the way. Now, any of you guys that know, the modern Charger, why, I can't tell you, but Dodge never opted to make it a manual. You want a Charger, you're getting auto, shut up, go home and enjoy your car, right? Not Dennis. Dennis is old school. Dennis likes rowing gears. Dennis took the modern base model Charger. He took everything out of the Hellcat Challenger and swapped it over to the Charger. So now what you've got is a Hellcat powered Charger, which already exists, right? You've also got the Widebody that they did, and this is the same Widebody that they did in the Fast and Furious movie. The Widebody carbon stuff's done by the Speed Core guys. They swapped it all into the Charger, engine, transmission. He did injectors and a pulley kit. I love that they brought in the manual on this. It just makes it flat out more fun to drive. And this car, by the way, has no granny assist. There is no traction anymore. There is no stability anymore. There's none of that. This car's raw. As a matter of fact, it's the only car we've ever shot of Dennis's that he warned me before I drive it that this car will spin tires, first gear, second gear, third gear, no problem, guaranteed, and it does. So they took the interior out of the Challenger and made it all work in the Charger. And I just gotta say, man, it's just really cool. It's very different. All in all, super cool car. What you got is a wide body, manual transmission, Hellcat Charger. Amazingly cool car. The best part about it is, let's jump in, go for a little rip, give you a sense of just how cool this car is. Okay, well the good news is it's not quite as brutal as I was expecting. I gotta admit I was a little nervous at the first roll on. So I got up around 4,500 RPMs, definitely pulls nicely, but it's not the violence I was anticipating from my neighbors. So when the road straightens out here, I'll roll on just a little bit more and try to get a sense. All right, so here's 3 grand rolling on. Okay, yeah, this thing definitely moves. And it's just as comfortable as can be, I gotta admit, man, I'm a little bit blown away. Like I said, it's my first time in one of these. Really comfortable car. It's pretty intense power though. All right, let's dig a little more here. Definitely spins them no problem. I mean, that was first gear, 4,000 RPMs or so, and boom. I mean, I could have spun them all the way down the street. I just love the whine that you get from these things, especially that smaller pulley, man. I'm telling you, the whine you get is just so good, not to mention that just low-end torque power delivery you've got. Once we got on a wide open road there where there was some room to get on it, yeah, definitely a lot of car. Gotta admit, as I was saying while I was doing those flyby shots, not as violent as I was expecting, given that it's a little over 800 horsepower and there's none of the granny assist stuff going on. But you know, this chassis is stiff, the suspension on here is really stiff. I mean, whatever the setup is they've done on this thing, it's stiff. You go into the turns, you feel very little body roll whatsoever. I mean, I'm telling you, like, I dumped the clutch at around $4,000 a couple of times and just kind of modulated throttle. You could have held a burnout down the street. I could have thrown it to second and kept doing it. It's definitely got all the power you could possibly want. I mean, seriously, watch this. Spinning tires, no problem. Yeah, fun car to drive, man. I love, leave it to Dennis to go, let's just do something fun, you know, we'll put a manual and make it a Hellcat and wide body it, you know, put on a bigger wheel, some big Mickey Thompson tires. All right, so the next one we're gonna dig in on is my buddy David's 68 Charger, affectionately known as Dumbo Charger. Look at the color, consider what the engine is. This is why he named it Dumbo. Now, I personally think the 68 to 70 Charger is one of the prettiest cars out there. There's lines on that car that I absolutely love. Coming from the rear, how it crisscrosses as it goes across the door. There's some really exceptional lines on the Charger. Yeah, it's a big daddy. I mean, that's a long car to try to move around. But I really love the build that David did on this car. I mean, there's choices I would have made, I think, differently regarding suspension. They went with Magnum Force, and I'm not knocking Magnum Force, but there are better options, in my opinion, on suspension. But nonetheless, a serious upgrade to the car. Everything was done by one guy, including David stepping in to do some of the work. David did his own wiring on this car. He's kind of a tech geek like that, so he did his own wiring. But the good portion of this car was done by his friend Jimmy. Paint, body, pretty much everything done by him. He did probably the coolest motor you could have bought in the last couple of years. It's to the point where it's an engine that's just impossible to get. It's called the Hellphant engine. This is from Dodge, 1,000 horsepower crate engine with a 2-year, 24,000 mile warranty on it. I mean, it's bonkers to me that we've made it to this point in our life where you're able to buy 1,000 horsepower crate engine from a manufacturer that comes with a friggin' warranty on it. David was lucky enough to get one of these engines, made it to a Tremec 6-speed on this car. All the suspension, I said, was upgraded, the Magnum Force stuff. Switched it all over to a coilover setup. The color choice is an interesting one. Some people love it, some people hate it. Personally, I like it. The only part that I don't really love on this car is when you look from the front view, the cross member up front, painted blue like that, I don't really love it, but it was to tie in with the Hellphant graphic that they did on the back of this car that's all in blue as well. Jump into the interior. Man, he made some cool choices on this one. Some of us don't necessarily love the short back seat, but I think it's a great look on this car. Sure, you lack the safety element, but it's just such a good look on this, and the distressed leather. Absolutely love the simplicity and the classic elements on this interior. But the best part about this car, like so many of these, is when you go for a drive. So let's jump in and go for a little rip down the road and see what Dumbo's all about.
By that, it's a 1,000 horsepower crate engine.
But it's functional too. Like you can actually drive it, and it's not. I mean, you could get on it and scare the shit out of yourself, but it's also one that you, as we're doing now, just putting around.
Yeah.
Charger sounds great, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I heard you coming down the street. I'm like, I got to catch up to that fucking car.
Yeah, right on, man. Thank you.
That's non-stop in this car, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's just non-stop.
Everybody compliments constantly.
I mean, dude, this thing has got to look like a freak show going down the road.
Exactly.
Plus, it's not a quiet girl.
Exactly.
At all.
That's second gear.
And I barely tapped 5,000 RPM.
Yep.
Holy God. Wow, dude. But it feels like really planted on the road also.
Oh, yeah.
God dang, man. That was about $6,000.
That never gets old.
And dude, I'm like, I mean, it's crazy how quickly it gets through the RPMs.
Yeah.
Because I'm really not, I'll bet if you had a reading for throttle input,
Yeah.
I bet you I haven't given it 40% yet.
I bet you're right.
Like total adrenaline rush, bro.
So the what I likes and the what I don't likes. Probably the most obvious one is nothing against modern Charger, but it's a modern Charger, right? So other than all the elements that have been done to this car, when you're driving it down the road, there's a good chance you're gonna see a few other cars that look pretty similar to your car going down the road. Now, I guarantee you they don't have a manual and they probably don't have it built the way this car is. That's about the thing I don't like really on Dennis's, the modern Charger. On Dumbo, I would just like to see some different choices made on the suspension on this car. There's a lot of other companies that, in my opinion, make better stuff. I wouldn't mind a bit more safety-related stuff on the interior, a more bolstered seat, maybe a higher back seat, as well as full harnesses. That's really the only stuff I don't like on this car. So now comes the choice part, right? And I know a lot of you guys are gonna disagree with me on this because I normally would really lean towards one direction, but I gotta tell you, man, having driven both of these cars, driving a modern wide-body Hellcat Charger with a Challenger interior and the manual transmission, this car is friggin' intoxicating to drive. So for me, for the win, I would pick the modern Charger on this one. I expect I'll hear it in the comments. I expect a bunch of you guys are gonna disagree with me. So fire back at me and let me know which one you pick and why. And as always, you guys, I always say this and I really mean it. Thank you for watching what we do here, supporting what we do here. You know, it's not just me. It's a whole crew of guys that makes this channel happen. So I appreciate you guys supporting what we do, and I will see you in the next episode. All right, man. Later.